So all workers are entitled to work in an environment where risks to their health and safety are properly controlled. Now, the difficulty is you're dealing with a problem that you can't see. It's often something that isn't disclosed, which can make things very difficult for an employer. How can you deal with something that you don't know an employee is actually suffering with? And then on the other side, there's often this perception where you've got employees that are seen to play the health card or the disability card. It can be perceived as a nuisance, or it's associated with difficult employees, which again is a stigma that we need to get away from. Now, when we look at that legal obligation, you think, well, how can you tackle this? And, you know, mental health is pushed down the agenda in some respects. But, you know, if you were an employer, you would never ask an employee to work from height without the appropriate safeguards, such as harnesses and hard hats. You'd never ask a lifeguard to carry on with their duties with a broken leg, or refuse to repair dangerous equipment in the workplace that could result in somebody, you know, losing perhaps even limbs. The perception, however, for mental health is, as with other hidden disabilities, is that it's a bit different, and it's something that is not seen to be the employer's problem often until it's become a real issue that's much harder to resolve. Now, often employers are surprised as well that mental health conditions such as depression are often classed as disabilities. So when we have a look at that, the legal definition of what a disability is, in the employment world, that's very different from classifying something as a disability for the purpose of benefits, or perhaps for motability, for people who have motability cars. It's quite a simple definition. And what it is if someone is suffering with a physical or mental condition that's likely to last more than 12 months and affects their day-to-day life, in the employment world, they are likely to be classed as somebody who has a disability. Now, if somebody meets that condition, and depression is often held as an example of one condition that is held to be often a disability, then they're caught by the Equality Act, which means that they're protected from things like discrimination and poor treatment at work. And often then there's an obligation to make reasonable adjustments for that employee. Now, we'll come on to that in more detail, but I did want to, at this point, just flag that definition to you, that it's in what we're talking about with mental health. So a mental condition that's lasted more, or is likely to last more than 12 months, that impacts someone's day-to-day life.